Hello and welcome on in everyone, I'm Space Wizard Total War, and in today's video I'll be showing off another mod showcase for Total War Warhammer 3 for Grand Cathay. We've already showed off Dead's Jade Unit Pack as well as Eustace's Artillery Pack. This is Dead's Cathay Unit Pack, also created by Dead Baron there, so go ahead and give him all the love he deserves. Once again, I'll have the link to the mod in the description so you can get in there and easily get it and download and take a look for yourself. So for this mod, unit pack, we've got several units to utilize, and I've got them with whatever is going to be the same or close to the same cost equivalent. That way we can have a little bit of a comparison. So we will start off with our Celestial Dragon Bannermen, which actually are going to act very similar to your kind of a blend of the War Drum and your normal Celestial Dragon Guards. You can see they've got tower shield and these awesome banners, as well as they're kitted out with what looks to be the Alchemist's helmet mixed with just a normal Cathayan helmet. I think they look incredible, and their stats are as follows. They are going to be Harmony Yang, of course. They've got a silver shield, so if you compare them to your Celestial Dragon Guard, they have just a bronze shield, so they'll be blocking quite a few more missiles. The exact same amount of armor, a pretty decent amount of leadership, very low speed because they are Cathay, of course. Decent melee stats, more heavily statted towards the melee defense, but we can kind of look. They've got more defense, and then your normal Dragon Guard have a little more attack. It's not a huge difference, and also your Dragon Guard are going to be, at least the Dragon Guard are going to have some armor-piercing damage, where your Celestial Dragon Bannermen are going to have nothing but bonus V large. They have 17, where your Dragon Guard are going to have 20. These guys aren't necessarily a proper melee style unit or one that's meant to be a frontline fighter. You're kind of supposed to use a couple of these guys as specialists. Dead has himself on the comments that they are kind of redundant since the addition of the Jianghu War Drum, so he's looking at either retooling them or either removing them entirely, and I hope we just find a better way to retool them. Maybe have it so they boost up harmony for everyone in the area, and also count as both Yin and Yang to be a harmony anchor for your Cathayan armies. But they're a very decent specialist unit. But like I said, they're not as good as the Dragon Guard, and they don't have all of the same benefits as the Jianghu War Drum, which is just a proper specialist, much smaller, so it's easier for you to kind of hide behind other units. And they're all right. They look great, but besides that, I say use them at your own discrepancy. Next up, we are going to have the Jade Warrior Crossbows and the Nangao Riflemen. Obviously, the Jade Warrior Crossbows have been in the game since the beginning, but these are our new handguns belonging to Grand Cathay. And look at the different varied helmets they've got. This is my favorite of them. That and the straw hat with the armored core is pretty cool. These are handgunners that are going to have armor-piercing damage is their main draw. If we compare them to Jade Warrior Crossbows, they have less armor. They actually kind of act more like they're more of an analog to the Iron Hail Gunners, but they're very low armor, pretty low leadership, higher speed than Jade Warriors because they got obviously less armor. Garbage melee stats. No charge bonus, pretty decent ammunition, and then 145 range and 19 mostly armor-piercing missile strength. So they're very good at ripping through any armor. Again, I don't know if you want a whole squad of these because they have less range. Your Jade Warrior Crossbows are rolling with 160 range, but as you can see, their damage is mostly just normal. So if there are armored targets, they will definitely start losing a bit of their damage. Of course, that extra armor is quite nice, but these guys are going to be costing exactly the same amount on the campaign map, so kind of mix and match as you will. And if you want a gunpowder army themed on Nangao, these riflemen will be perfect for you. Next up, we have our Dragon Breath Gunners, which again are going to be kind of analog to the Iron Hail. However, these guys are going to be rocket launcher gunners, which is like Iron Hail, but so much better. So these got little handheld grenade launchers, and they're going to have they're like a lower tier Trollhammer torpedo. So they've got 15 missile strength and how much bonus V large? They got 20 bonus V large on that. So you want to target these guys on the great big beasties, any large monsters or heroes, drag them down as quickly as you can. And you don't tend to want too many of these. They're kind of a specialist unit where you want a couple of them in your army to be those anti-large hunters, but besides that, you don't want these aren't really a doom stackable unit. Very good, look amazing, but not doom stackable. Moving on to our cavalry. we have the Fire Lancers, which again, as with the theme with Dead's units, they look incredible. The blazing lance as they charge into battle it looks awesome. Theming 100 here. They are Celestial Dragon Guard on horseback, where we have Celestial Dragon Guard that are on flying horseback right now with the monstrous cavalry. I think these guys are monstrous cavalry. And no, they're just normal, so they just have lower model count at 24. There's 60 in your Fire Lancers. You can see the stat difference isn't that much. So your Fire Lancers are going to hit like trucks. The only real difference is that weapon strength difference, because there's only 24 of them, and they fly, of course. So Fire Lancers are incredible. They have fire attacks, a lot of armor, and a pretty decent shield. And they've also got the explosive charge ability, where as long as they are charging, they will give themselves flaming attacks and hit enemies with flammable, which will cause them to be weak to that fire damage as they're coming on in. So the flammable is going to take... Oh no, they get flammable and extra weakness to fire damage, so it's 30% weakness to fire damage, and then they also lose 30% speed for 10 seconds. That's a very, very good ability. If you're using this in tandem with the Dragon Breath Gunners or Sky Junks or anything else with fire damage, you're going to be ripping right through bad guys. It is glorious. Love me some Fire Lancers. Moving on to our Battle Cats. War Tigers. They are like Saber Tusks, but they seem to perform way better than Saber Tusks. And it could just be because they have more models per unit. But again, it's an assortment of Battle Cats if you need them. They're incredible. They've got low armor, of course, 24 models, Vanguard deployment, stock, anti-infantry, armor-piercing damage. These things they're just nasty. And they're not even all that expensive on the campaign map. We'll go ahead and show that off quite soon with all the units. We'll head over to the map and show their buildings and how much they cost as far as upkeep goes. Next, we have the War Elephant, which I have comparatively with the Terracotta Sentinel, because they cost the same on your on-campaign. War Elephant's what we started with here. And I know, it's just a testament to the modders. Good work, lads. This elephant looks fantastic. Will I be calling it a mammoth in just about every one of my campaigns at least twice? Definitely. And then they've got the gunners up top to rain havoc down while the tusks and trunk smash people to bits. So you can see the health comparison here with the Terracotta Sentinel. It actually has a little bit more health than the Terracotta Sentinel, but you can see the War Elephant. Very low armor, so any kind of missiles coming their way, or if it gets bogged down in enemy troops, it will start losing health rather quickly. It's got a 34 bonus for infantry and a heap of armor-piercing damage, and then all of the gunners are going to be, of course, armor-piercing handguns. So it's a very good unit. You just want to keep it moving, otherwise it'll go down pretty quickly. Up next, we have our Juggernauts, straight out of the Three Kingdoms era. These are basically flame cannons for your Cathay faction. The ammunition on it feels like it's not correct, because it says you only have 4 shots. You have a lot more. They'll sit there and they'll shoot for days if they only have 4 shots. Got a lot of missile strength. This actually used to be way higher. I think it was up near 2,000, and it was dialed back quite a bit by Dead because it was a little bit too much. So they do a lot of damage and they're gonna be burning enemies, but no real armor piercing. So still, it's gonna be more of a chaff melter, and just any kind of infantry. It gets rid of them in a hurry. Where your Grand Cannons, which cost exactly the same, are going to be your armor-piercing punch and for dragging down large monsters. Again, it's one of those where if you use cannons and flame cannons together with the Dawi or organ guns and cannons together, you'll probably find that same combo style to work very well with the Cathayans. Lastly here, we have the Divine Lance Battery, which I'm comparing with the Sky Junk, since they both are a single-entity rocket launcher unit. The Divine Lance Battery is one carried by a gigantic battle turtle. You thought the Lizardmen were the only ones with big old reptilians? Besides Miao Ying, we're not gonna worry about that. Nope, also Cathay. I absolutely adore the battle turtles. And they, of course, have a Divine Lance on their back, which is a fire rain rocket, I think juiced up a little bit. And they are very similar to, like I said, a Sky Junk, but it's got a monstrous unit carrying it around, so they are able to waddle away from combat quite effectively. They're not great in battle. Here, I'll show you the stats here. They do have 30 and 32, so they're like Bastiladons, but a little bit larger. Stylodons with 18 bonus V infantry, and then the missile strength on the gun is going to be actually a bonus versus large of 30. And 1.3 thousand. So comparatively to the Sky Junk, it's actually a lot more. It's actually more than double the Sky Junk, which is terrifying. We'll show all of these units off here after we show their where you get them on the campaign map and how much they're going to cost for upkeep. So let's zoom on over to the campaign map and get to it. Alrighty, welcome everyone to the Wastelands of Jin Shin, where we'll get to showing off which buildings you must construct in order to actually recruit in these modded units. So starting with the cavalry line here, because those are the fastest to get any of the actual new units, we've got just the basic corral. You can get the War Tigers, which is part of the reason the War Tigers are so good. They've got 125 upkeep, which is just silly low comparatively. See, it's only at 25 more than your Peasant Horsemen, so why would you ever recruit Peasant Horsemen when Battle Cats exist? I couldn't tell you. Armor piercing and bonus versus infantry are going to always outrank the likes of just your really little armored garbage horsemen. Such is the way. In the first building, you also have the Peasant Horse Archers, which is going to be Cathay's only skirmish cavalry. So even though they do have a little bit low range for skirmish cavalry, I think this is even lower than the likes of. Actually, no. This is actually. Hang on. Let me see if we can pull up before I bloviate about nothing. We can pull up the unit browser and actually show off. I think the Kislevites have the least range comparatively. So yeah, less range than the Kislevite Horse Archers. Less range than the Illyrian Horse Archers. More range than the Pistoliers and the Outriders, though. So they will be outranging your Imperial Skirmish Cav. But pretty much nothing from anywhere else. Who else has it? The Wood Elves. Wood Elves Skirmish Cavalry has 150 range. They're very, very effective. Tomb Kings also have Horse Archers, don't they? 140 range. So, yeah, no, the Cathayan ones, just a little bit less range than everyone else. But that's fine. I think we'll be dealing with a lot of Warriors of Chaos skirmishers, so theirs are going to be. Oh, of course, there's a Bajillion here. Let's go find instead Norska. Norskins. Alright, so we've got 80 range here and 70. So against the Norskins and 90 for the Horse Masters. So against the Norskins, you will then actually gain the skirmish advantage. So your skirmisher Horse Archers, not bad at all, especially since Cathay doesn't have any. So Peasant Horse Archers and War Tigers from the very first building is incredible. It is going to juice up your armies quite quickly. For the Fire Lancers, you need a Tier 3 Jade Stables, or the Tier 2 Jade Stables, I guess. And then also you must have the Fire Rain Silo, because of, I guess, balance reasons. So it's actually going to be quite a bit of work to get the Fire Lancers. You need to get all the way up to the max tier Fire Rain Silo. That way you can imbue your sticks with flame. They also are going to cost 325 upkeep, as opposed to the 200 on Jade Lancers, so they're quite a bit more expensive. They're actually almost in line with the Great Longbow Riders, and I think they should probably be up there in the Great Longbow Rider building. But I think the reason they're not is because it would take even more money comparatively to get there. So, quite like the Fire Lancers, they're expensive. You will be paying for them. Up next, we have the Celestial Bannermen, which you get from the very first tier of Celestial Barracks, and they are going to be actually identical. Oh, I guess I'm wrong. Celestial Dragon Guard's slightly less than the Bannermen. It's kind of a strange cost, too. 263 as opposed to 275. There you have it. Up next, we have our Artillery Monsters, which again, the Divine Lance Battery, for some reason, is at the very first tier. So why would you ever need a Firing Rocket or a Sky Junk? You tell me. They are going to cost 388 on the upkeep, so if we compare that to the Firing Rocket, it's actually more by almost 100, and then a little bit more than the Sky Junk as well. The War Elephant also is in this tier, and is actually going to cost 400. You also need the Alchemist Tower building in order to get a War Elephant. So the Alchemist Tower is the first tier of the Skyport. So there's going to be a little bit of an additional cost to get the War Elephants in. And 400 upkeep is quite a lot. And circling back to our gunners, because I've neglected them for no reason. At the very first tier, we have our Nangao Riflemen, which are going to cost 25 more than your Iron Hail Gunners. And you also have the Juggernauts here, which are a 250 upkeep. Comparable to the Grand Cannons at 225, so they cost 50 more, and you get them at the very first tier. I was like, it's such a good early game unit. The Juggernauts and the War Tigers will just make sure that there is nothing in terms of infantry, and your rifles will tear down any kind of large beastie or armored targets with a hurry. So it's going to be hard to stand against Cathay with a couple of these unit mods in, or with at least this one and the other that Dead has created with the Jade Warrior variants. Is going to make your Cathayan armies feel a lot more punchy. Up next in the Tier 3 Powder Magazine, or at least the Tier 2 one for us, Tier 3 for the settlement, you get the Dragon Breath Gunners, which are going to cost 225 upkeep, comparatively to, I guess they're almost identical. They are identical to cannons and cost you 75 less than your Crane Guns. And that's going to be our buildings. Let's head back over to the battlefield to show off exactly what these units look like when throwing hands, or rockets, or what have you. Welcome back to the battlefield here with our loyalists of the Dragon Empire. Let's go ahead and show them off. So I basically have just a couple of comparisons. We did have the normal bannermen. Wanted to compare the damage between the crossbows and the Nangao rifles. Dragon Breath Gunners, we are going to just kind of have, I mean, not for this first test here. We'll put a couple, we're not going to be able to test everyone in for this first time. So the Dragon Breath Gunners will go back here, and the Elephant will kind of keep moving around the outside because we can show it off where we want. Vine Lance Battery and everything off of fire will, and let's do this. So we'll start off by showing off the damage between the two cannon types. So are they in range of the Juggernaut? They are. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll start up the battle, yoink, get into slow-mo, that way I can choose the targets. So we'll have you fire here on these Marauders, and then you fire on this group. Obviously, the Juggernauts are going to do probably more damage, but let's go ahead and do a bit of a test. Juggernauts v Cannons.
Soldiers, you are the
and of course they go hide. Hang on. Before we let that fly, because that's going to be cheeky. Yeah. Nice try, AI. Try to ruin my test. Give him the business. Alright, so that's one volley of cannon shot. Let's go ahead and backspace them.
To be feared.
Actually, you can see there. The damage between the lava shot and the cannons very similar, but they definitely don't have 4 shots. It's kind of a confusing error there, but very similar damage on the very first shots. So we'll have them both chill out, and then we'll see the damage difference between the Nangao Riflemen and the crossbows. Crossbows will start firing. We'll have them blast whichever group they want. Go for it. Chunky damage coming out of them. There's a lot more guys stacked up in one spot for the other group. And now Nangao Rifleman giving them the business. Granted, these guys are hitting 2 units at once. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of penetration in the shot. And then you can see the Dragon Guard get into battle. And they have amazing combat animations when they get those spears ready. And let's go ahead and reset for, actually, I think we've got a perfect opportunity to show off the Battle Cats and Lancers. So Battle Cats, go! But after this, we'll have to reset. Really nice initial charge, and they get ripping right away. Pretty effective unit. And then we'll go ahead and charge in the Fire Lances. You two try to get out of the way. Cannons go ahead and fall back too. Let the Fire Lances smash in. Lances activate right before, and they actually have a little bit of an explosion and kind of a sparkle effect. Yeah, no, they're incredible. You want a Doomstack of Fire Lancers. The damage of that first charge. Incredible. Our elephant's over there brawling. Let's go ahead and get reset, and we will have ourselves another test. For this next test, though, I'm going to have the cannons and everything shooting the entire time, so you can see all that going. We'll show off the lance and the firing rockets first. And we return, reset, and ready to go. We'll start off with the rocket launcher troops. They actually start by putting them back on fire at will, and let it begin. Sky Junk starts the fight off. See the lance shoots them all at the same time. Yep, it's some incredible damage there. Maybe one day it's you. Although he's dragon-blooded, so I don't know what he's talking about. You can see the damage difference is pretty stark. Go ahead and pause real quick as those rockets come screaming in. Set the Dragon Breath Gunners up on fire at will, so they'll start blasting as soon as the enemy gets close. And the same thing with the War Elephant. Let's go ahead and show this thing off, charging into, let's say, this group of baddies in the back here. Show off its effectiveness at blending through foes. Oh yeah, the Dragon Breath Gunners getting in there too, and that tore that group apart. Maybe they are, doom stackable. Raw, get him, Elephant. Smashes in. Let's see if we can't have it blend through the line. I don't know if it's so effective at that though. Even though very low armor. Oh, no, it does fine. It is absolutely War Mammoth status. Holy. And they're gone. Well, I can see why they cost 400. Amazing. Yeah, and that's our Dead's Cathay Unit Pack. Go ahead and try this sucker out. I've got the link in the description. It's incredibly fun. All the units here are, well, maybe not the most incredibly balanced. They're all very fun to use. Oh no, they're getting to our juggernauts. Turns out Three Kingdoms was a lie. Oh, they're doomed. Thank you all so much for stopping on by. Go ahead and leave any mods you'd like to see me showcase, or for any factions you'd like me to go do some searching for some mods in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one.